We were able to make an arrest last night of this particular individual. His name is Marcus Wells. As you can see from the photograph, he's a black male. His date of birth is 5/5/83. He was employed at Fox Chapel Middle School as a in-school suspension, also known as ISS monitor. And he is charged with multiple counts of sexual battery on a person 12 to 18 years of age by a person who is in familial or custodial authority. And he is currently booked in the Hernando County Jail. He originally had no bond, and I'm told that since his booking, the bond has been changed to $80,000, and if he is able to get out, he'll have to wear a GPS monitor. He will not be able to have contact with the victim, of course, or any unsupervised contact with young people. The school board and Department of Children and Families all worked together well with the Sheriff's Office to bring this case to a successful conclusion very, very quickly. I can tell you a little bit about what happened. It was over approximately 2 weeks that ended last Friday. There were 8 encounters between this young victim and Mr. Wells. He was, when the investigation started, I'll tell you a little bit about more, or I'll have Dr. Romano talk a little bit about what the school district did, but we were able to get admissions from the suspect prior to his arrest and booking. And of course, we're working closely with the state attorney's office. Actually, one of the prosecutors is here in the audience today, Erin Daly. She's been working very closely with us since the very beginning of this case was brought to our attention, and we have every reason to believe it will be successfully prosecuted by them. So before I take any questions, I'll turn it over to Dr. Romano. I know she has a couple things she'd like to say. So.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Lori Romano. I'm the superintendent of the Hernando County School District, and I'd like to begin by thanking Sheriff Nienhuis and his team for their professional support in this matter. The staff of the Hernando County School District has worked in full cooperation with the Sheriff's Office in order to ensure the most efficient process. I can share with you that Mr. Wells is no longer employed with the Hernando County School District. His position at Fox Chapel Middle School was as a monitor of our in-school suspension program and not a teacher. He had been with the district as an employee for 8 years. The timeline of events, as far as we are aware, is as follows. On Monday, May 22nd, just before noon, the school resource officer, Deputy Valente, was made aware of allegations against Mr. Wells of inappropriate contact with a youth. School administration immediately removed Mr. Wells from student contact, and the school resource officer coordinated an investigation. Wells remained isolated from students for the remainder of Monday and was required to report to the district office Tuesday with the sheriff's office, while the sheriff's office continued their investigation. Tuesday evening, we were made aware that an arrest was imminent. We appreciate the support of the sheriff's office, and as we stand together this morning, we extend this promise to our community. We will not tolerate behavior that puts our students at risk. We hope that the actions of this one individual will not sully the integrity of the many wonderful and hardworking staff of the Hernando County School District. Thank you.
Okay, if you'd like, we'll go ahead and take a couple questions. I don't know if we'll be able to answer them, but we'll be happy to at least entertain them. Yes, sir.
So some parents online have been commenting and complaining about their lack of knowledge, I guess, since the allegations were officially reported. Were parents made aware by the school district, and at what time?
I'm not aware of the time, but yes, they have been made aware, and there's an ongoing and pending investigation, so we're not able to share any additional details.
Where did these incidents happen?
It's our understanding that all of them occurred at the school.
Right. What situation would this adult be alone with this child?
I don't know if we want to contact, part of our issue here is protecting the victim, and we want to make sure that we don't talk a whole lot about particulars so that we don't further traumatize the victim in this case, because obviously this is a very serious allegation, and the victim, my detectives, we were talking about it earlier, and that's one of their primary focus of the press conference today, is to get the information out without further traumatizing this young person. So I don't know if we could comment a whole lot on that, or it would be appropriate.
Do you have any reason to believe there may have been any other children involved?
That's a good question. I'm glad you asked that. We don't have any specific indication that that's has occurred with any other individual. However, we do find that in cases like this, when somebody does this type of thing, oftentimes when it's brought to law enforcement's attention, it is not the first instance, so we would not be surprised if there are other victims. And of course, anybody who had contact with Mr. Wells, particularly parents of young people, it's my understanding that he was involved in the community in different things, and so it's probably a good time for your parents to have a heart-to-heart with their children about any possible inappropriate contact. So again, we don't have any indication there is, but we certainly would not be surprised, and we'll investigate it thoroughly if we find any indications of that.
You said another student reported it to the SRO. How did that student find out?
Again, we don't want to give a whole lot of information because we don't want the complainant or the victim to be able to be identified. But I can just tell you that from a law enforcement perspective, it was a courageous young person, and we appreciate that person coming forward and doing the right thing, because otherwise we may not have known about this as soon as we did, if at all. So.
Can you just roughly talk about the role that social media may have played in her ability to be able to come forward with some information without getting into particular details?
I don't think social media played a role in this particular case. From what the information, very limited information I have, I don't think social media played a role in the reporting. But that's not to say it couldn't have in the future or similar situations. But in this particular case, I don't think social media played. Is that accurate information? Okay, I'm being told by my detectives that the social media was not involved. So.
Some of our sources say that the Mr. Wells was a football coach. Is that correct?
That's our understanding, as well as multiple other sports within the community that are unrelated to the school district as well.
Sheriff, do you have any information that he was also involved with the church or youth activities?
Yes, that is our understanding.
And then will there be a review of district policies that may have allowed the two to be together alone? I mean, is that something that's under review?
We always take the opportunity to look at our policies and review those. We have not discussed that. We are trying to deal with the investigation and the ongoing work first, and to make sure all of our students, we're protecting their health, safety, and welfare.
Can you talk about how it is that the person who was courageous enough to come forward came about the information that she got to bring to the SRO officer?
Again, to protect the identity of both the complainant and the victim, I don't want to release a whole lot of information about how we got that, but suffice it to say that this young person is very courageous, and I commend that person. That person knows who they are, and they did the right thing, and we appreciate that, them coming forward and letting us know and getting this ball rolling. But again, to comment further might undermine our ability to keep both of those identities confidential. So.
Corey Davis with the News Channel 8. Where was he a coach? Was it at Fox Chapel Middle football coach?
I don't have the particulars regarding his actual coaching locations.
And what is the district policy for an adult being alone with a student?
He was an employee who was background checked, as all of our employees would that would have student contact.
So, yes, ma'am.
Will any services be provided to the victim or the complainant that came forward, whether through the school district or the sheriff's department, victim services, or any type of counseling or anything?
I'm sure it's the same for them, but we obviously work closely with both the state attorney's office and our victim advocate, and we will work closely with any relatives of the victim to make sure that they get any services, and of course, the school has a lot of services as well, and of course, those are always available and strongly encouraged that they take advantage of those. So,
Dr. Monaco, does that imply then that background employees are allowed to be alone with students?
All of our employees are required to have, by the state statute, to have background checks, yes.
Does that mean that they're allowed to be alone with students in school?
That's how the statute reads, yes.
Dr. Romano, are there going to be new policies implemented or any, since we've seen kind of a rash of different things happening within the schools recently. Any new policies or thoughts from the district that may be implemented from this point forward to protect both students and teachers?
We always, as I answered over here, we always take the opportunity to review our policies. We are not at that place. We are trying to, again, support the ongoing investigation.
Did Mr. Wells have any disciplinary record with the school district, any previous allegations of inappropriate contact with students?
I don't have those details that I'm aware of, no.
What do you say to parents of those football players or even of students who might have come in contact with them, parents who might be concerned today?
I think that it's extremely disheartening, and that they need to make sure that they speak to their children. They need to contact our student services department. We have a care team and a care plan in place, as we were talking about before, and access any of those services that might be available, and work directly with the school principal and their staff.
Could you confirm, either one of you, the gender of the victim?
I'll have to ask my detectives, do you have an issue with that? Okay, the victim was female.
Okay. And or with an age or grade or?
That I was specifically said, we'll say that that person was a youth, but again, if we narrow it down too much, it might add gasoline to the rumor mill or anything like that, and either the actual victim or somebody who's not a victim who they think might be so we want to give as little information to mitigate that as we can, so.
But the victim is a student at Fox Chapel.
What's that?
The victim is a student at Fox Chapel.
I'm not going to confirm or deny that.
Is that where the incident took place?
That's where the incident took place.
Was Marcus Wells Irene Wells' grandson?
That I don't know. Even my investigators aren't aware of that, so I'm not sure. Oh, I'm being told by the prosecutor that the answer to that is yes.